Welcome to Home Dad Chat, brought to you by the National At-Home Dad Network. My name is Brock,
My name is Danny.
and we are here to talk about life as stay-at-home dads. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
No, I don't want much. I even love handmade crafts made of macaroni. Come on now, you should know me. Times I might eat too much. No worry about my weight, got the dad bod rocking on me. Sketches on my feet, cargo shorts look good on me. I'm a dad, that's what I do.
Oh my gosh. Welcome back to the Home Dad Chat. Man, you're cracking me up already, Danny. Oh my goodness.
Sorry. We're very professional here. Very
Oh,
professional.
good. I'm not changing it. Man, welcome, everybody. Honestly, it's great that you came back to listen to another show. We're definitely having just a fun day of things going on and just laughing about it. But anyway, I got to ask, Danny, I'm not going to ask how your day was. I want to know, did you see who made it on national television today with a big movie star daytime talk show
Well,
host?
but you don't care how my day was today? What?
We'll talk about that later.
That hurts, man. All right, okay. Was it the one and only man himself, Dante Palmer?
It sure was, from Squat for Change.
Yes. I saw that. That was awesome. Oh my God. It was
Yeah.
like, I know that guy.
I know, it was so cool. I was like, dude, he was our keynote speaker at DadCon at home. That was so cool.
Right. I was telling my kids, and they're like, "What?" Because I had two kids that were homesick today, and they were like, "Dad, we're doing, we get a nap or whatever they were doing. We're doing something over here. Why are we talking about some man that we've never met?" I'm like, "No, come on."
You're like, who's that guy?
Him.
Who's he? I know her. We've seen her before on TV or on the movies. Who's he? Oh, but yeah, no, I thought it was so cool. One, I think it's neat that her show has the segment called Good Dad, which is really neat. She's had Curtis Weber Jr. from Dad's Married to Doctors on there too. He was actually one of the very first dads to be on that segment, so that was pretty cool. But yeah, Dante on there for Squat for Change and getting to share his story. It's unbelievable, just his background. I mean, I believe he was a school teacher, and then his family went out to eat one night, and he went to go change his kid, and there wasn't a changing table in the bathroom, and so he just squatted against the wall and changed him. And his older son snapped a picture of him, and they put it up on Instagram at one point just to see what reactions would be, and it went crazy freaking viral.
Right. And now he's just a force for change, and a really motivational person, and honestly, somebody that likes to make you cry. That's what I think. That's what
he gets deep, man.
Dad coming home this year, he goes quick. When it was straight, it was like, yeah, everything's good. And I was really interested in his career and how he got where he's doing, and the passion that he has for what he's doing and all that.
Yeah.
And then he just went straight into, hey, well, here's the thing, and who wants to cry? And I'm like, well, I want to cry, but I didn't want to cry, man.
Yeah.
So,
great. And he's been doing so much. I mean, he started out, he was doing things with John Legend for a while there, and Chrissy Teigen.
Cool.
Yeah, because Chrissy Teigen had reached out to him during the first set of the whole viral thing and was like, yeah, man, we're behind you. And then nice. P&G and John Legend got in with him, and they started putting changing tables up. And then on the show today, it was just really neat because Koala Care, which everybody knows who they are if you've ever changed a diaper and had a changing table, they basically said that they were going to donate a bunch of changing tables to him as well. And I know he currently is in a place where he's trying, if anybody knows of a location that does not have a changing table in the men's bathroom, he wants you to reach out to him and let him know where that location is, because he'll get them a changing table, and they're not cheap.
No,
they're really not. And I remember going to a pizza place here in town, and they didn't have one. And I was like, what's the deal? I mean, I get it. You got a small bathroom or whatever, but you can't put a changing table. And their excuse was they're really expensive. And I was like, I get it. But to have only one in the women's bathroom and not one in the men's bathroom,
where do I change my child? Yeah.
And I told the guy, I was holding my daughter at the time, and I'm like, listen, I now have to go back, tell my wife, and she's got to now go and change my daughter when I fully was going to do it. It's frustrating. I was like, what if I didn't have that situation? And there are many dads like that wouldn't have that situation, wouldn't have that ability. And the manager really had no, they were, I mean, just throw up the hands there. And I think it was like a college student type thing.
Oh no.
So, I mean, they were just wide eyed and, doe and headlights type of deal, but Yeah, it's cool that he's trying to just really change the world for changing. I mean, he's changed legislation in some cities. I mean, New York City had basically made it a law that the bathrooms have to have changing tables in them, which is really cool.
It's awesome. Yeah. I can't tell you how many times because I mean, where do you put your kid? There's just nowhere to go. And you're not going to put them on the floor. I mean, you're just not. And most of the time we ended up, I didn't really ever do it in a restaurant because I was never in a restaurant like with my wife and needed it changed. It was more of a, hey, we're going to stop at the play place or whatever and get some chicken nuggets or whatever. And I'm like, okay, we're going to go out to the car. And I've done it, like on the front seat of my car, even at church, even because they didn't have one originally. And I'd do the front seat of the car, fully dressed in my Sunday best, and not get a spot on me. And it was a sense of pride, man. But it would have been so much easier because they have one now, actually, the church and the two restaurants the fast food places we used to go to, they all have them now. Not thanks to me. I never said anything. I just like, okay, they don't have one. But I love that he's doing it, and it's such a very impactful thing.
Yeah,
especially to move a company like Koala to do anything. It's very impressive. Really, really kudos for him and everything he's done.
No, it's great, and honestly, I'm hoping that we get him back again for Home Dad Con this year in Cincinnati. It's been
awesome.
It's been put out there. He had mentioned it during like everything with Dad Con at home, so hopefully it all works out and we get to see him because he was so motivative and just so inspirational. So we'll see how it all plays out. But I love talking about what he's doing. He's got some really cool stuff, and he deserves all the all the accolades that he's getting right now. For sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
such a humble guy about it too.
Definitely.
Just impressive. So.
Do you think you could geek out about diaper tables?
Well, could I? Yeah, because I'm just like a golden retriever. I love anything you love. I love it so much. How much do you love it? I love it more than that. I love it more than you. I could love everything. So yes, I could. And I honestly, I'm not sure with Dante. Because the thing is too, he was so very professional.
Yeah.
I mean, he could have been just a public speaker that we had hired to speak about a subject, as opposed to a dad that just has a passion. It was amazing. He was just very, very, his verbiage was great. His intonation was great. Everything he said really had an effect.
Yeah.
I loved that. But I'm sure he could geek out about it.
I imagine he probably could. Yeah. Who knows what all he could get involved with it for sure. But, I mean, as far as geeking out, we've been geeking out over all these different topics for setting up some cool shows with different dads and their passions for all kinds of fun stuff. What would you say out of all the ones that we have lined up is like, what would say your top two would be? You have like two favorites?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I still haven't finalized my list of the dads that I would like to on this one, because I want this one. But gaming is huge for me. Like tabletop games, board games, big, huge, long-term Dungeons and Dragons player. I'm like, yeah, can I? And we were originally talking about, listen, what subjects can we geek out about? And I don't know that I necessarily announced gaming, but I might have just slipped it in there. And when you said, yeah, that sounds like a good idea, I was like, yes, oh, this is mine.
Well, my thing was I was thinking about video games, not board games, because that's
video games too. Yeah, let's do it.
So we can have a couple segments on that. We could do a board game segment and a video game segment.
Sure. How long do you want me to talk? Oh, you want somebody else? We want to like a guest.
We need some other people with that. Yeah.
Just me on a diatribe for 75 minutes.
Yeah, I know. I'll be like, what about the dice? What? And I never put. I've not gotten into Dungeons and Dragons. I love board games, definitely, but I feel like I'm very intermediate when it comes to what I'm involved with board games. Ticket to Ride and some other fun stuff like that. Things that we can get the kids involved in. We try not to go too heavy level. I like Catan. That's one I'll get together with some of the guys and we'll just drink beer and play Catan, and that's a lot of fun.
It is
nothing like trying was it two bricks for a wood?
Nice. Yeah, but I'm really excited about gaming. And then I think after that, really, and we should probably list them out for everybody, because I know we have the list, but
That's okay. We'll do that
So
later.
my other one, it's honestly, it's either gardening or cars or photography. I don't
Okay.
know.
You got a
It's
three-way
not
split for a
sports
second?
and it's not beer because I'm not. Those are not my things. I
That-
am less
that's
into
okay.
sports or beer than you are into gaming. Just gonna throw it out there. So so it's kind of a knock. But what about? I want to talk about all of them. So I'm going to stop because we don't talk about them yet. So what about you? What would you say your top two are?
So I'm
Sports and beer?
actually I'm gonna throw in one other one that we didn't talk about because I just thought of this. And with being on TikTok recently, I've run into a lot
Curveball.
of cool guys with
Mhm.
this. But I want to get some guys to talk about bourbon. And so,
Sure.
because if there's
Mhm.
something that like I love bourbon, I love talking about the history of it and how it's made. And then the same thing for beer. Like there's such a history and just so many different styles of how it's made. So bourbon and beer, really cool. Those are ones that I think will be fun to talk about. And we'll see where it goes. There's some guys out there within our community who are heavily involved in the beer scene. So,
Mhm.
that'll be fun. And then, the other one that I would say is probably up there on my list would probably be talking to the veteran dads, dads who
Oh, yeah.
are military veterans that are in the group,
Mhm.
and that's such a niche group of guys, and I think they come with a whole lot of like stories and experiences, both in the battlefield and then also in the trenches as a stay-at-home dad, and
Yeah,
just
yeah.
how that all plays out. So I think it'll be cool to get some of those guys on because I feel like military guys, they're very sort of pulled back. Like they'll watch
Mhm.
and see what's going on, and every once in a while they'll engage. But for the most part, like they just want to feel, it seems like, attached with the ability to step in and step back type of deal. And I think there's probably a lot of dads that probably feel the same way. But I think for them, it comes from a place of what they've experienced in their military careers that kind of put them in that place of like, I'm cool just to like head down. I'm here, but I know that if I need something, I can definitely get out there and be a part of the community and ask it because of just
Interesting.
how solid the community is. And I've seen that on pretty regular occasions. So I'm excited to talk to those guys and just kind of
Yeah.
see how they're doing. But yeah, I mean, we do have a long list of different topics for sure. And I think that that's what'll keep people very connected to, the show for quite a while.
Mhm. Yeah, and I love finding the passion that people have that our dads. I say our dads. I don't know our group of members in the closed group, but our dads have. That's just you can tell. Like all of them are very passionate about their kids. All of them are very passionate about their families, and we've all got that in common. And then right alongside that is all of these other things that they geek out about.
Yeah.
That it's just like, oh well, I want to, and especially for me, very surprising was the growth of beer and craft beer, and to the point where it is now that it's just miles deep, basically, to
Yeah.
what you can learn about, like you said, the history of it all, of course, but then also how it's made, where it's made, why it's made that way, and what they do with it as far as as far as anything that has to do with it. I want to say like taste and flavor and all that. I don't want to get a lot of words on that part of it because then I'll mess something up, and you're like,
Well, I'll tell
actually,
you,
it's
yeah,
the
yeah.
hops or something.
I'll give you one little beer, a little beer
Sure.
thing, which is kind of cool. And then we'll move on to the next topic. But basically, here in town in Cincinnati, we've got like beer cellars that have been around forever, like catacomb type style. And there's a brewery here in town called Urban Artifact. And they actually have gone into these catacombs. They've found traces of yeast from like way back in the day, and they actually made a beer called Missing Link, and it was this super old like recipe for this beer and stuff. So they do a lot of sours and stuff there, but it's just kind of interesting to see like you can take an old yeast that's still like it's alive and resurrect it into this like living drinkable thing.
Now
And
you say drinkable. Have you tried that stuff?
I didn't get to try it because they did a limited release on it, and I don't have the money for it. But the guys that I know who are in the beer scene here in town were really amazed by just the texture, the flavor, just all the different aspects to it. So yeah, it's pretty, it was a cool, it was a really cool story, honestly, historically and just everything. But that, like I said, I love all that history.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that you love it. And I know there are so many dads that are going to have that same, they'll just mesh right up to you and they'll be like, oh, well, yeah, but did you hear that it was actually Bob so-and-so who did it when he took it out when his, and obviously they're going, yeah. So I'm just gonna step out for a minute. You guys keep going, but I love that we all have those things that we geek out about, that we just, even though it's, our kids again, probably are primary for every single one of us, but that thing that we have that you get a little free time. What do you do? Well, actually I'm going to go try a new beer. And 10 years ago, it'd be like, what? Or maybe 15 years ago now, but it's like, what, you're going to go try what does that even mean? But it really means something. It's a lot more involved in it. And I think with all the topics that we're looking at, we've mentioned like gaming, of course, but I don't want to, are we revealing all of them? I don't know. We're not going to list them out if you don't want to list them out, but like cars for me, I'm not like a huge car guy, but I love cars, and there are certain cars that are like, I have a dream car. I have cars that I'm just like, wow, if I could ever, if I had infinite funds, I would be driving that instead of my minivan, right. But you get people that are so deeply involved in it, that are so layered into the construction of the things or the history of the things or the people that were the big movers and shakers in making this happen. I'm really looking to see that kind of just enthusiasm that hopefully we can bring it to the show too. So.
Yeah, definitely. No, as far as cars go, I really enjoy like cars that are involved with like movies. So like the Ford versus Ferrari movie that came out. Oh my gosh, that was excellent. Like such a cool story, and also too to find out that characters that were in there, they actually like had like the real people as part of their like consulting and keeping it as true to form. So yeah, it's pretty, that kind of stuff is always cool to me. But yeah, I could geek out on cars too. I mean, I grew up around car shows and grew up right near the Auburn Cord Duesenberg Festival that takes place every Labor Day. And I go up to that every once in a while, and you would just see cars that just, it was like one of like 50 left in the whole world. And you're like, oh my gosh. Like, so yeah. So that'll be fun, just talking about all those different topics. And we'll get that kicked off here next week with our first one, which working on lining it up. So I can't even tell you who it is right now, but it'll be fun. I am curious though, like I said, I didn't ask you at the beginning of the show how your day was. So we'll end the show with, how was your day?
Well, I did have two kids that were homesick. It's allergies. I think they weren't really sick, but my 7 and 8 year olds were just, the pollen has just exploded here. So the 7-year-old she was a psycho hose beast last night, and was just wailing and crying and just mad and raging and just wanting to hit stuff and things. And I'm like, okay, you can have all those emotions in your room. You can't do that out here. You can do that in your room. Go right ahead. Don't do it out here. Which is something I've done with all the kids. It's kind of like, that's great. Go do it in your room. No, you can do whatever you need, as long as you don't break things or hurt yourself, of course. So she was feeling really bad last night. And then my 8-year-old was feeling bad yesterday, but he's always kind of a hypochondriac, so we weren't sure. But he got up this morning and he had, now our home thermometer. All right. So I tested me and my daughter and my son. Those are the younger two. And my daughter's was 97.3. Mine was 97.6. And my son's was 98, or 98.1, I think. So I'm looking at it going, well, if he's hot and we're cold, I don't know, but he's a little warm. So I thought I'd just better to keep him home, and gave him allergy medicine. He was good, but it was a long day of getting back into that routine of taking care of a sick kid, even if they're not really that sick. So it was a lot of that,
But isn't it 98.6 that they're okay? I mean,
yeah, technically. So assuming that the thermometer is broken, because I doubt my daughter's I mean, I could be wrong. You know, there's a lot
Oh
of
no,
dads.
I temp out at I temp out at 97 when I go to I'm usually 97.6 or whatever every time that I've like gone to the doctor and they checked me out or whatever. So
have you had too much beer, man? What's going on? Why is that? No, I have heard that that globally human body temperatures are lowering, so that could be it.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I could have sent him to school, but at the same time,
that's good being cautionary.
If especially right now, the kids, I didn't want him to send the kids back at all. So I still have that laying on me. But then the school's like, we have any kind of a fever, please keep them home for 72 hours. And I'm like, I can't do that. I don't love them that much.
72 hours. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. But you know, it's an overabundance of caution. So, but anyway, but other than that, it was great. Everything was going great. I had a lot of good conversations today. I got a talk to a lot of dads about a lot of stuff coming up with the show and other things. And then it's like 7:45 and I'm going to come in here and talk to my buddy Brock and have some me time. And my my middle schooler comes up and goes, Dad, you know that animation project that I did instead of a science fair project because we're doing it virtual this year? And I went, yeah, I'm aware of it. What about it? It was due Monday. He's like, well, I didn't turn it in and nobody turned it in. So they gave us until midnight tonight. And I'm like, well, get it done. God. What are you doing? Get it done, man. And he said, well, I will. Okay. And he's such an introvert, you know, and if something you may be able to be aware about their kids, but with my kids, my, I was the 11-year-old, he's so introverted that you never correct him in a public way. If he does something wrong, you're going to have to go and talk to him face to face and quietly. He just gets overwhelmed by the sense of having made a mistake and just cannot handle the fact that he's imperfect. Sometimes he just won't process it well emotionally, and he'll just get stopped up and, you know, just almost physically, you know, not physically, but almost emotionally constipated where he can't do anything else at this point. And so I had to deal with that. It's that last minute, hey, I got a project due tomorrow. I got to do it in 15 minutes. So that was a bit of a headache. And with kids, I mean, I asked my kids, the younger kids, it's not a big deal because they don't have homework yet. But like with my high school or middle schooler, I ask them every single day. It's part of our just conversation when I go pick them up is, you know, how was your day? How's things? How's this or that? And then it's, do you have any homework? And do you have any long-term projects that we need to be, you know, putting some work on? Because I don't want to wait until the end to do it. And it seems like every time they're like, no, I don't have one. I got everything good. And then it's like, what is it, Tuesday night? Oops, sorry, Dad. I do actually have some long-term projects that we could have been working on for 3 weeks.
Yep.
So other than that, yeah, it was great. It's a great day. How about you?
Nothing like that. That's for sure. No, for me, it's getting warmer up here. So I really wanted to go running. And since it was nice out today, I mean, it hit close to 70 today.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. So I went out and I put in 3.1 miles and it felt good. It was hard, but it was nice to finally get back out there and do that after many months of not. Mm-hmm. And for me, it's a mental health release. Yes. So I've really spoken out about that a lot through all my social media platforms and stuff, and just really trying to push people to be like, you've got to take care of yourself, you know, before you can take care of other people. And
here.
It's so important, and I just don't want to stop that conversation. And so it's good to get it out there. But yeah, I mean, for me, it was a pretty decent day, honestly. I spent a lot of time doing a lot of the same things as you, trying to, you know, kind of juggle connecting with different dads and stuff. But along with that, lots of laundry and, you know, lots of unloading and reloading the dishwasher and cooking. And my cooking schedule was a little off today, so we were late to eat from normal time, but made it all work. But yeah, I mean, it's just, I think, you know, from what you're talking about and the stuff that, you know, I've dealt with, I think the big part of it is like just taking that deep breath and not getting overly frustrated with it and be like, all right, like, how do we push through this? And I feel like that's the thing where like our kids hopefully will see, you know, like, oh, you know, like I watched my dad like go through a, you know, frustrating situation or whatever. Maybe I caused a frustrating situation, and, you know, they were able to figure out how to work that out, and, you know, that kind of thing. it was funny. My wife was sitting on the couch with my son when I went out to go walk the dog, and she was asking him, or we watched the Dante Palmer bit on YouTube, and he was like, "That was really cool," and he was like, "I really like that." He's like, and she's like, "Why do you like that?" And he's like, "Well, because that's just going to help me with my fatherhood." He's 8.
Oh, yeah, but yeah, that's awesome.
And then he, from there, she asked him, "Well, what do you think the best part about being a papa is?" You know, because that's what he calls me, a papa, and he took him a little bit to figure it out. And he just like, I left and I came back, and my wife was like, "Hey, you know, tell Papa what it is that you said." And so he was like, "Huh? What?" And she's like, "What's the best part about being a papa?" And he goes, "Being a papa." That was his answer. I was like, works for me.
Yeah, you know, I can't argue with this logic.
Nope, I can't argue with that. So yeah, it was kind of nice, like to hear that. It's always good to hear stuff like that from your kids, and you know, it doesn't always happen, but when it does, you just kind of like, all right, like I'm gonna put that in here, just put it in my box. Got that for next time.
Keep that for later. That's right.
Yeah, I'll hold that and cherish that. So yeah,
that's great.
That's pretty much all I got for tonight, man. I like I said, I'm looking forward to our upcoming shows, and we're working really hard to put those out. We did get our first, and I have to figure out how to put this into the show, but we did get our first like voicemail from a listener 2 weeks ago, after we did the episode with the National Parents Organization. And this gentleman had left a message just stating that, you know, he listened to the show and that he basically understands, like, you know, what a lot of people are going through. He himself had gone through it.
Hello, my name is Keith. I'm from Maine. Went through a divorce. I've just recently, though, I've been a stay-at-home dad full-time all the time for 3 years, the help of my partner. But going back to the divorce and the judicial process for shared parenting, etc., you're talking about judicial reform in your segment. I am interested. The acts of not following the United States Civil Judicial Procedure, or which is called Code, is real. Not even following all of the legislation set forth by the state, and therefore in return, the judge's code is not met. The other thing I found is parent alienation. It's real. The use of the system to do bad things to the other parent.
But I just thought that was cool, like, honestly. And so, yeah, Keith, thanks for listening to the show, man. Thanks for leaving that voicemail. It was really cool. I hope that more listeners will do that. Use that function and Anchor and leave us a voicemail, because depending on what it is, like, I'd love to be able to figure out how to put those into the show. And I might actually just take the clip itself and just put it at the end of this episode for people to listen to. I need to listen to it again, see how that would work. But yeah, I love it. We just need to get, I love interacting with listeners, and I hope that more of them will do it.
Yeah. If nobody listening can tell, we love to talk to people.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you could just add to that, because Brock and I are like wearing each other's ears out at this point.
Oh man, you sure? All right. Well, hey, y'all have a good day. I hope that you have a great week, and we'll see you back here again next week with more fun stuff to talk about.
I'm a dad, that's what I do.